Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. A new version of the Star Trek timeline is officially on the way, rewriting not only the history of 20th century America, but putting a completely different spin on one of Star Trek's most acclaimed and beloved episodes of all time. Only this time around, Lieutenant Nyota Uhura will be taking the spotlight. In the latest official announcement regarding Star Trek's acclaimed line of comics, the new one-shot revealed via IGN will be revisiting the classic Star Trek, the original series episode, The City on the Edge of Forever. But since this is an entry in the Deviations line, the story will be rewritten to ask, what if Lieutenant Uhura had traveled back in time instead? Writer Stephanie Williams' Batman/Superman, World's Finest, and artist Greg Maldonado's Star Trek Strange New Worlds will be spinning this What If? one-shot, with the official plot synopsis also revealing a change in setting. Instead of a Depression-era love story, Lieutenant Uhura will travel back to 1963, into the middle of the Civil Rights Movement. The original Star Trek Deviations comic offered an alternate version of the main timeline, revealing that Romulans discovered Earth before the Vulcans and turned it into a brutal penal colony. As a follow-up, this new one-shot will ask a very different question. What would Lieutenant Uhura make of an America still within the grip of segregation and racial inequality? The new story from Williams and Maldonado has the potential to blur the line between fiction and history in Trek as both in the best way possible. Through the many comic convention appearances before her passing, actress Nichelle Nichols revealed that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. convinced her to remain Lieutenant Uhura during a chance meeting after the show's first season, having even informed Gene Roddenberry of her desire to pursue work outside of the series. It was Dr. King who urged Nichols to change her mind, explaining the political message she was already making as other African Americans marched for a better future. The cultural appreciation for Nichols' groundbreaking role has only increased since her passing in 2022, which makes this full-circle story, returning Uhura to the same point in American history, could be one of Star Trek's most powerful to date, not only honoring one of Star Trek's most heartfelt and ambitious episodes of all, but using it to tell another unforgettable story. For nearly 6 decades, Star Trek has been defined by its fearless return to old questions, moral, philosophical, and cosmic. But every now and then, the franchise circles back not just to themes, but to specific moments, specific stories, and specific emotional crossroads where the saga's identity was forged. Now, after 58 long years, Star Trek is officially gearing up to revisit one of the original series' most iconic episodes, a decision that is equal parts bold nostalgia play and storytelling opportunity. And the Trek fandom is already vibrating at warp speed. They didn't name the episode. They didn't need to. Fans instantly knew the short list: Balance of Terror, The City on the Edge of Forever, Amok Time, Journey to Babel, Mirror, Mirror, or even the 1966 psychological masterpiece, The Corbomite Maneuver. Each one is a cornerstone of the Trek mythos. But whichever episode the project revisits, one thing is certain: the creative ambitions are enormous. And yet, this announcement doesn't feel like cheap nostalgia. Behind the scenes, the intent is clear. This isn't a remake. It's not a reboot. It's a narrative excavation. The creative team wants to illuminate corners of that original story that TOS never had the budget, runtime, or serialized structure to explore. And it speaks to a broader trend in modern Trek. The franchise is increasingly aware of its own history and increasingly willing to confront it. If we consider the possible episodes on the table, the tone of the new project becomes even more intriguing. Let's imagine the team is returning to Balance of Terror, revisiting the episode that introduced the Romulans and defined Kirk's tactical brilliance would carry massive storytelling weight. Strange New Worlds already reinterpreted its events through a fascinating alternate timeline lens in A Quality of Mercy. But that was more in homage than a true revisit. A full-fledged expansion could examine the political fallout, Romulan motivations, and Federation-wide consequences of that tense and tragic standoff. It could humanize the Romulan commander further or delve into the long shadow the battle cast over the neutral zone for generations. But what if the project is tackling the city on the edge of forever, a towering pillar of Trek storytelling? Returning to the Guardian of Forever isn't a new idea. Shows from DS9 to Discovery have flirted with it, but actually revisiting the events surrounding Edith Keeler's tragic fate would be another matter entirely. With modern emotional depth and modern Trek's willingness to engage with time travel paradoxes on a multiversal scale, the story could expand into something even more profound. A deep exploration of the cosmic forces behind the Guardian, or the lingering moral weight Captain Kirk carried after sacrificing love for the timeline, could reshape the audience's understanding of his character. Alternatively, revisiting Amok Time would allow a new generation of Trek writers to dive into Vulcan culture with the depth and nuance TOS could only imply. That original episode was a cultural earthquake. It redefined Spock, Vulcans, and even the nature of Federation diversity. Modern Trek has the benefit of nearly 60 years of canon building. Returning to those primal rituals with new perspectives could reveal the emotional stakes TOS never had the room to fully explore. And given the franchise's current fascination with exploring internal identity conflicts, Spock, Burnham, Picard, Worf, a deeper look into the Vulcan struggle between emotion and logic would feel both timely and resonant. And then there's Mirror, Mirror. The episode that introduced the Mirror universe remains one of the most influential in all of Trek, spawning spin-off arcs across DS9, Enterprise, and Discovery. Revisiting its beginnings 58 years later would be a full-circle moment, an opportunity to explore the origins of the Terran Empire from the TOS perspective, or even to flip the script and see the infiltration of the Prime crew from the Terran crew's point of view. If there's any TOS episode ripe for a modern deconstruction, it's this one. But the producer's tone suggests something deeper, less spectacle, more soul. Which brings us back to the final candidate, the Corbomite Maneuver. That episode is often overshadowed in pop discussions, but among longtime fans and writers, it's a beloved philosophical touchstone. It captures everything Trek is about: fear, misunderstanding, miscommunication, and ultimately, compassion. Revisiting its events could allow for an exploration of Balak's people, or a deeper reflection on the Federation's earliest tests in space diplomacy. In today's climate, political, cultural, and existential, revisiting a story about overcoming fear of the other feels strikingly relevant. Regardless of the episode chosen, fans and industry watchers alike are abuzz because the announcement marks a major shift in Trek's creative direction. Instead of simply adding new eras, new captains, or new corners of the galaxy, the franchise is now interrogating its own origins. This is not unlike how Star Wars has re-examined the Clone Wars era or how Doctor Who revisits its earliest regenerative myths. For a franchise that has outlived its original cast, original format, and even original production studio, such introspection feels both inevitable and deeply meaningful. The big question is how the creative team will balance reverence with reinvention. The original episodes weren't just great stories, they were lightning in a bottle. They were shaped by the social upheavals of the 1960s, the limitations of broadcast television, and the raw creative chemistry of Shatner, Nimoy, and Kelly. Modern Trek cannot, and should not, attempt to recreate that energy wholesale. Instead, this project aims to extend the conversation, to take the questions TOS asked and push them further than the show could at the time. There's excitement, but also risk. Any revisit to a sacred TOS story will face intense scrutiny. Fans will watch closely to ensure the new interpretation honors the spirit of Gene Roddenberry's original vision. And the writers know it. They've reportedly taken great care to treat the material with thematic seriousness, avoiding simple nostalgia beats in favor of deeper philosophical inquiry. As the project develops, the possibilities feel endless. It could become a limited series, an anthology episode in an existing show, a streaming special, or even the foundation for a new miniseries format. What matters is intention. This is Trek looking back not to relive its past, but to better understand it. 58 years later, one thing is clear: Star Trek is ready to step through a familiar door once more. And this time, It's bringing nearly 6 decades of storytelling evolution with it. The journey back to a single TOS episode may wind up illuminating the future of the entire franchise. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay with us.